Welcome everyone tonight to the Q Sciences product call. My name is Jane Long and I work with the corporate team and I will be hosting tonight's call. Thanks again everyone who's already come on and introduced themselves and everyone else that's joining. Thanks so much for being here tonight. All right, so to get started, we have three guests tonight who will be joining us. Three great guests. We have a great call lined up. And our first guest tonight is Dr. Bill Moshofsky. Now, if you don't know, Dr. Moshofsky is our medical advisory board member. He's our chief medical officer here at Q Sciences. And I've had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Moshofsky, and in addition to being a great doctor, he has 30 years of medical experience in family practice. He's been the chief of staff at a large hospital where he's overseen 800 physicians. In addition to all of his amazing credentials, he's a great guy, a father, an avid runner, and just an all-around wonderful person that adds a lot to Q Sciences. So with that, we'll just go ahead and get started and let Dr. Moshofsky take it away. He's going to talk tonight about Q Essentials. So go ahead, Dr. Moshofsky.
Jane, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay, great. So thank you for asking me to be part of the conference call. It's been a couple of weeks before I've been able to, and I'm excited to participate. Q Essentials has 4 building blocks which lay the foundation of health, really. And I have talked in the past about each one of these building blocks, and I thought I'd just review for a second. The Q10 Plus is our CoQ10 product, and it has 2 amino acids as well, lysine and arginine. Coenzyme Q10 is an essential protein, and it's a coenzyme to help the body generate energy at a cellular level. And the 2 additional amino acids which Dr. Kimberly added to that formula help with growth hormone stimulation. So in a sense, this is our anti-aging formula. Both coenzyme Q10 and growth hormone decrease as we age, and coenzyme Q10 is really difficult to get in our diets because it's primarily found in organ meats, which are high in cholesterol, so something we really shouldn't consume. And it's also low in vegetables that we normally eat and should be eating. Interestingly, only an avocado has a fairly high content of coenzyme Q10. And coenzyme Q10 is especially important for patients who are taking statin drugs or red yeast rice, which is commonly taken as a natural product to help lower cholesterol, so it's important in that group specifically. Empower Plus Q96 I've talked about. It's our multivitamin mineral formula, only product of its type with research from multiple universities around the world and the United States that are not sponsored by the company, which makes them even more impressive because of that. I've talked about the safety of the product in the past, and I actually, in one conference call, detailed the importance of just one of the 32 parts of Empower Plus Q96, manganese, and kind of tried to outline it, just how important even one small part of that is, one small trace element within that multivitamin mineral formula. Then we have Q-Biotics. Q-Biotic is what I call our 4 little helpers, bacteria that assist us in food digestion and reduce inflammation and protect us from harmful bacteria in the environment that we get into our bodies. And because Q Sciences has a patented delivery system, a patented caplet, all of these bacteria get to the small intestines, are able to get through the acidity of the stomach, and are ready to work when they get there. And I want to tell you, there's a lot of buzz in the medical community right now about probiotics and health. And Q-Biotic is definitely a superior product, and I'm very happy that it is in Q Essentials pack. But as Jane said, I wanted to spend just a few more minutes talking about Q Vitals. Q Vitals is our herbal supplement that is really a brilliant formulation by Dr. Stephen Kimberly, a friend and colleague, and over 30 years, Dr. Kimberly has been working with patients in his integrated medicine practice, using different combinations, trying different herbals to really come up with a formula he felt was superior. And I am completely just so excited that he's given Q Sciences this formula because it's outstanding. But I wanted to talk about just one part of that today, and that's what I call the Russian connection, and that's specifically two ingredients within Q Vitals: Siberian ginseng and rhodiola. Siberian ginseng has been used really for thousands of years to improve stamina and endurance. It is what is called an adaptogen. So an adaptogen is a product that allows us to tolerate stress and reduce and resist the effects of viruses and other infections that we might possibly get, or things in our environment we might become exposed to by stimulating our immune system. In Russia, for generations, Siberian ginseng has been given to the soldiers to help them persevere in the face of fatigue, hunger, and stress on the battlefield. And it has a similar effect for us, trying to navigate our very chaotic and stressful lives that seem to get more stressful every day. Siberian ginseng, according to Dr. K, is a superior quality herb, different than Asian ginseng. And it has worked its way slowly to the top of his list by performing in patients that he has treated for 30 years. It's the most effective variety of ginseng. Q Sciences is only using the top quality Siberian ginseng and only the parts of the plant which are the active parts. And I want to make sure that everyone there knows that Dr. Kimberly and myself would not feel good about having it any other way. We only want the very top products within Q Sciences and Q Essentials. So the second ingredient is rhodiola. Rhodiola is another powerful adaptogen, also used for many, many years in Russia. It is finally getting some popularity in North America and Europe, and it's kind of been spreading over the last several years that direction. The studies are pretty good that when combined with exercise, rhodiola actually can improve weight loss in patients doing both exercise and taking rhodiola by the fact that rhodiola activates lipase, which is an enzyme which helps break down stored fat in the body. It has been shown to improve alertness in individuals who are sleep deprived, working long hours, or under stress. And at least some of the time in my life, all three are present at once. So a powerful tool within Q Vitals to help me, and I know that will help you tolerate those stresses. You know, rhodiola is a very interesting herb because it has a unique property that at low doses it's activating, and at higher doses it seems to have a calming effect. And that's likely why for many years astronauts as well as soldiers and athletes in Russia have used rhodiola to perform at a very high level. So there you have it. There's 2 of 10 ingredients in Q Vitals, a product that Dr. Kimberly has let evolve over the course of his 30 years by small tests of change, if you will, trying different things, adding to, subtracting from, in order to get what he felt and feels, and we all feel, is the perfect combination of herb products to help deal with the stresses of the everyday environment.
Thank you so much. That's so interesting. I love hearing about the history of those ingredients in addition to the health benefits. That's really fascinating. Just to remind everyone, again, these are ingredients in Q Vitalize, which is part of Q Essentials, as Dr. Moshofsky mentioned, which is our kind of foundational wellness 30-day box that has 4 different supplements in it. So thank you so much, Dr. Moshofsky.
You're welcome. I wanted to add one more thing, Jane, and that is that I take my Q Essentials pack every day, morning and night. I never miss it. I'm a faithful user, and I am because I feel better. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, well, I know one of the things that you do for us is you make sure all of our products are safe and effective. And I think it's great that we know that the man himself is using it every day. That's a huge testament to the fact that you believe in it and you trust that it's safe and effective for everyone.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. I know
you're welcome.
You have a son that's in town from overseas, and so we won't take too much more of your time because I know you're a busy guy. But thank you so much for sharing that with everybody.
You're welcome, Jane. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. All right, well, we are now going to move over to 2 people on the call tonight that are going to share their experiences with Q Sciences products, and that is Dave and Michelle Salo. Are you both there?
We're both here. Sorry, I was unmuting the line here. So who did you want to go first?
Oh, my gosh. Well, why don't we start with the lady? Why don't we start with Michelle, if that's all right with you guys?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I use the Q Essentials. I have found it to be remarkable as far as my menopausal symptoms. I had breast cancer 2 years ago, and I was thrown into menopause, and the symptoms and hormones were fluctuating. I was up and down, and I have felt since January, I have not missed a Q&X packet a day, and I am sleeping through the night. There is no hot flashes, even through the summer. There is a mild heat, like everyone will feel, but it's not the flash the heat flash that I had previously. So this is supporting my balance, my hormonal balance, and I love it.
That is fantastic. That's an amazing story. We also have I didn't get to give you an introduction, but Dave and Michelle Salo, we just wanted to mention that they are 2 of our fantastic IBOs, a couple from Utah, and they both have an interesting story in that they've both been involved in the medical industry. Michelle, you have been a pediatric nurse, and Dave has been in the pharmaceutical industry for 30 years. So I think it's interesting just to point out that, you both have a lot of knowledge and background in this kind of related stuff. So we appreciate that. Is Dave there? Do you want to go ahead and share your story?
Just to reiterate what you were just saying, Michelle, my wife, has been a pediatric intensive care nurse and also worked in child and adolescent psych when she started her nursing career here at Utah Valley Hospital, and then moved back down to California, and that's where we got married, and then she worked at a local trauma center close to us, and that's where she got involved in pediatric in the intensive care unit. I've spent 30 years in the pharmaceutical industry, and as I was joking with your dad today, Jane, that come out of the dark and back into the light, and Scott Malone got a big kick out of that. One of the advantages I have of being here in Utah specifically and close by is that I get to spend a lot of time at corporate. And for those of you who haven't been there, I encourage you to, if you ever make it to corporate, have the opportunity to come to corporate, to feel the energy, to talk to Mark and Darren and Tim and Colby, and I got to give everybody the shout out, Marmion and Nick and all the wonderful people at the call center. I mean, they're just great people and great energy. So I'll go in and tell you a little bit about my story with Q Essentials, but also I'm going to tell you about my mom and another good friend of mine who I just got on the product, the Q Essentials product. But I started off with the Q96, and I was introduced to it by Darren Hogue, who happens to be my neighbor. And I did very remarkable on the Q96. And then at the time, he had brought not only a bottle of the Q96, but he brought me over a box of the Q Essentials pack. And I was kind of joking with him when we talked about, started talking about the business of Q Sciences. And I have to say, I was very skeptical until I felt the effects of the Q96, and then I started talking to him about the business. I asked him, tell me about the opportunity here. And I said, well, one of the things about these direct sales companies, you've got to get in very early. And Darren started laughing, and he said, Dave, you got the very first box, and I'm proud to say I got the very first box of the men's Q Essentials that had come through. It had just been shipped to the office that day, and the only box that left the office that day was dropped off at my house by Darren. So I think I've had probably, I don't know about Dr. Moshofsky or Dr. Kimberly, but I know for a fact that I had the first box of Q Essentials and started on it, and I felt even better than I did with the Q96 because all of a sudden I felt a lot of energy. And then I started reading about the products that were actually Dr. Kimberly's formulation, and I started researching it and realized that this is something that I'd been looking for. I'd gone to another, I don't want to name any names, but a very well-recognized vitamin store, and I had spent a lot of money on various components of the things that I had learned and read about. And this product, Q Essentials, has everything that I had and then some. I wasn't taking probably a third of the things that Dr. Kimberly has in here, and I feel wonderful. And I have since I started taking it. And there are a couple days where I have missed, and I can really feel the difference when I haven't taken it. But one thing that I wanted to share is a story about my mom. And obviously, I mean, this is very anecdotal, and nothing has ever been said about this. But my mom is 81 years old, has suffered for years with what's called neuropathies. It's a pain in her feet. And she used to go to the hospital for treatment with a product called IVIG. It's very expensive, and Medicare gave her a hard time about the expense, and it made it very difficult for her to do it. Finally, she just gave up doing it because she was battling the hospital and battling Medicare. And so basically just suffering through the pain of these neuropathies in her feet. And so she had been on Q Essentials. I wanted her on it because, I mean, she's 81 years old and weighs 78 pounds, and obviously a nutritional deficiency. But after 2.5 months on Q Essentials, she calls me and said, now, I don't want you to get excited, but I just wanted to tell you, I don't have any pain in my feet. And she goes, I'm sure it's short-lived. I don't know. It's probably a fluke thing. And a week later, she calls me back. She goes, I still don't have any pain in my feet. And she called me back a week later and said, I still don't have any pain in my feet. And, it hasn't corrected the problems that are associated with her feet, but she's not suffering the pain. I thought this was very curious. I've never heard this before, and I haven't talked to Dr. Moshofsky or Dr. Kimberly about it. But this is a benefit that she's never going to get off the product at all. She'll never get off the Essentials because of what it's doing, with the way it makes her feel. And then very recently, I just found out a friend of mine who has suffered from a neuropathy in his hands since he was 10 years old, and we're the same age, so we're in the neighborhood. We're just north of 50. Started taking Q Essentials, was on it a month, and noticed that this hand pain that he's had since he was about 10 years old was gone, and he ran out, and the pain came back. So again, I don't know. This is really anecdotal, but I want to talk to Dr. Kimberly, Dr. Moshofsky about this because these are two people that are close to me that have experienced this, that love the product, that have felt a significant difference being on it. I'll throw one last one out. I have a brother-in-law who started on it. This is a man, we're the same age. He's very well supplemented. And the comment that he made to me when I got him trying Q Essentials was, why do I feel so much better on this product than all the other products that I've tried? And I said, because it's a premium product and it works. And just like Dr. Moshofsky had said earlier, he doesn't miss a day that he's taking the QNX, and I'd like to say I am so religious about it, and I pretty much am, but there are days that I have missed my X, and I feel it. I feel it at the end of the day and that night when I get in and I realize that I'd missed my X. So those are my stories that I've had. Again, these are very anecdotal. I have no idea why these things have happened, but I know that, as Dr. Moshofsky said, Dr. Kimberly has used premium products in these. In the Q Centrals pack. These are not inexpensive products. I think a lot of times we look at in direct sales, perhaps we try to get a product and we look at our profit margins and we try to squeeze everything out. One of the things that Dr. Kimberly I've heard, and that I've heard this over from Darren, is that this is a premium product company using premium ingredients, and I think that's the difference. That this is why, like my brother-in-law says, why do I feel so much better on Q Essentials than I have on the other products that I've taken? And I think that's the answer. So again, thanks, James, for the opportunity. My wife and I thank you for allowing us to be on the phone and share some of our thoughts on Q Essentials and also the other great products that we have.
Well, thank you so much both for sharing those stories. It's amazing to hear just the different things that people are experiencing and all the different positive response that people are having. Thank you so much, both of you, and also Dr. Moshofsky for being here tonight, and everyone that's listened in. Thank you so much for being here. If you are interested in learning more about these products, I encourage you to get with the person who invited you on this call, and you can also go to qsciences.com to learn more. And be sure to join us again next week. We have a product call every Thursday night where you can continue to learn more about these great products and hear more stories from great people like Dave and Michelle. So again, thank you everybody that joined here tonight, and I hope you all have a great night and weekend.